so we can get this going. All right, so we're going to talk about camera accessories tonight, and we're going to kind of go through all of the things you can add onto your camera to make it work a little bit better, get a better image from it, add production quality to your um, production. I was trying to think of a better way to say that. So whatever you're shooting, you can kind of step it up and give it more of that look that you see on TV, the look you see in movies, things of that nature. Um, as I'm going through, if you guys have questions, hit it in the chat box. Just step in, start talking. Either will work. It looks like there's only two of you guys tonight. Um, Anything you guys want to talk about afterwards, we can do that as well. So I guess here we go. All right. So we're going to start with lens adapters. So when you guys get that kit lens, the little silver coffee cup looking lens with your camera. There's different mounts you can get for that camera to put different kinds of lenses on there. The lenses that you can buy for the camera that are made by Sony are called Sony E-mount lenses. And E-mount is just their name for their adapter. And they're starting to make more of these lenses now that they have more of the NEX series coming out and point and shoot and stuff like that. So you'll start to see more lenses, but they can be very expensive, especially if you already own some lenses. And most people at this point have a DSLR or even an older SLR, a film SLR, that you already have lenses for. So there's not really a need to go out and buy new lenses if you already have some laying around. So you can get a Canon mount that'll use, or EF mount. These will use the lenses that you would use with your 5D or your 7D, stuff like that. These mounts are pretty expensive. They run, $500 to $600. But what is good about them is they have the electronic controls built in. So if you need to change your iris, it works the same as it does with the lenses on there now. You use a little ring on the side of the camera and you're able to adjust it. The Nikon mount, those are a little bit cheaper because you can get the older style Nikon lenses that don't require the electronics. So you can get a Nikon mount for about $80. And then you can go hit up eBay or a local thrift store or a consignment shop, and you can pick up these lenses for cheap, like 30, $40 a lens. And they're great glass, especially the prime lenses. Some of the zooms you'll notice some issues with, but the prime lenses will look great on your camera. And then the last one down there is PL mount. And what the PL mount lenses are, those are the professional lenses that you would see when you see like a behind the scenes photo, of a Red or an Alexa, like a feature film style lens. So I got some pictures for you here. We're waiting on our Nikon mount to come in, so I don't have a picture of that yet for you. So both of these cameras here, that's your FS100. The one on the left has the Canon EF mount. The one on the right has the PL mount, and they both have the 50 millimeter lens on there. If you look at the Canon mount down at the bottom, you can see those little brass tips. Those are your electronic connection points that let the camera talk with the lens. And over on the right, you see the PL mount is just basically an adapter to hold the lens. Now you also notice that on the PL mount setup, we have these rails with a little block at the bottom. That's to support the weight of the lenses. Those lenses are very heavy and very, very expensive. Those aren't the kind of lenses that you purchase. They're the kind you rent. That 50 millimeter that's on there, it's very old. It's from I want to say the 60s or 70s. Still looks great. It goes out for service every so often to make sure there's no mold or anything getting on the glass. But that lens runs you about $15,000. So it's something that you, like I said, you would rent, you wouldn't buy. But you need this other stuff to support the weight of the lens. And this also will allow you to attach your follow focus, attach your matte box, stuff we're going to go over here in a little bit, to help you work a little bit easier with your camera. Any questions on that before I move on? You guys are good? All right, cool. Let's move on. Next, we're going to talk about shoulder rigs. Shoulder rigs will allow you to put the camera on your shoulder, more like you would see like a broadcast TV style camera, where it's sitting on your shoulder, the eyepiece is lined up with your eye, the weight's more distributed on your shoulder. Because you'll notice our camera now, like you kind of have to hold it in front of you even if when you put your hand on the side, you got to use your other hand underneath it to support it. Um, so this will mimic your full-size ENG cameras. It allows for the attachments of the things like I was talking about before: your follow focus, your support for your lens, your matte box, stuff that like that. Um, if you're shooting for a long time, your arms will get tired fast without something like this. Once you start building out your camera rig and it starts to get heavy, not having that third point of contact, so you have your two hands on your shoulder, will really make for a rough, long day. So here's some different ones that are available. Um, left to right, we go cheapest to most expensive. I recommend the Jag 35. I own two of these rigs. They're very nice. They actually just started making stuff specifically for the FS 100. They have a student discount, things like that. Um, very cool company. The rig that's on the picture there is around 600 bucks, but they have them as little as around 300. Um, but basically, if you're looking at it, that orange plate at the top is where your camera would connect. You have the two handles for your hands, and then you can see in the back there's a shoulder plate, and then behind that is a counterweight to help keep the camera balanced on your shoulder. Um, if we move over one, um, and talk about the Jag again, basically there's this metal piece that offsets the camera, so the camera's right in front of your eye. So you're looking at the back of a DSLR or on our camera on that little flip screen on the top. If you look at the Red Rock, and there's tons of different versions of all of these. These are just the ones I have pictures of to kind of demonstrate the different things out there. The Red Rock on in the middle there has a monitor that sits in front of you as opposed to the actual camera, which allows the camera to be set back a little bit further and make it a little more easier to balance on your shoulder. And then you have the Zacuto, which is the BMW of shoulder rigs. Um, those guys get very expensive, about $2,000 for that rig that you see there. Um, but these are the ones that you'll see on a film set when they're shooting DSLRs or they're shooting smaller cameras like Danny Boyle likes to use, stuff like that. It allows for a lot more attachments. You can see in the little square has a monitor attached to the back, so your focus puller can help you with that, and all of those things. So we'll keep going. Up next is your follow focus. So basically, the lens that you guys have has an electronic focus mechanism. So the faster you spin that ring, the faster you spin the ring, the faster it'll change its focus distance, as opposed to a Canon lens, a PL mount lens, a Nikon lens, or even some of the other NEX lenses that are available. And what that means is the slower you spin it, the slower it'll go through the distances. But basically, on normal lenses, it has a set amount, and the wheel only spins so far. Well, if you're trying to do a rack focus, instead of trying to spin your wrist all the way around, this allows you to make a more comfortable movement, kind of like you're winding a watch. So that sits it with your left hand if you're doing it, your right side if you got an AC or an assistant camera, so they can actually control the focus. That's how it is a lot of times when you get to the bigger shoots. Is you'll have someone that's there just to handle focus. So all you have to worry about is your framing and things like that. Any manual focus lens can really handle it. If they don't have the right size teeth, you can get little adapters that go on your lenses so it has the right size teeth. You need some kind of rail system. You need either something like this that doesn't have the rest of the rig, the rest of the shoulder mount attached to it, or you need something like this that has these rails. These are all 15 millimeter rails. They also come in 19 millimeter, but you won't see those on stuff for our size cameras. Those are going to be on your film cameras and your Alexas and your Reds and things like that. They can be friction or gear based. So like I said before, you can get the gear rings so that you can move through the gears. But you can also get friction based ones that just push up tight against the lens and have a rubber ring that'll actually spin your lens for you. So here's the two different kinds. You can see this has teeth around the side. Your PL mount lenses have these built onto them. Your Canon lenses, Nikon lenses, the lens you guys get aren't going to have that. So like I said, you can get the little adapters that'll add the teeth. to your lenses, or you can get this little guy. So basically, you spin this guy right here, and this guy moves and turns the lens for you. Very cool, very helpful, especially if you're trying to do things quickly. It helps a lot to not have to worry about spinning until your wrist can't spin anymore, letting go, starting to spin again. You can just keep going and going and going and going. All right, cool. So I went through a couple things. Are you guys still good? Any questions? Good. All right, cool. We'll keep going. You guys don't ask questions. We're gonna blow through this really fast. Up next, we got a matte box. This will shield your lens from light, whether it be on set, lights coming in from the sides, if you're dealing with the sun, reflections, things like that. You can add your filters to it. So before you were talking about your step up ring, what this does is it has little holder slots for basically pieces of glass to slide into, so you don't have to screw them onto the end of the lens. Now, it's a little hard with the lenses that you guys get because the front of the lens actually pushes out. So if your matte box is set up and you have glass in there and you want to zoom in, you have to take off the matte box, zoom in, figure out where your lens is going to be, lock your lens with that little switch on there, then put the matte box back on. It has other attachments for lens flare control. So it has little side things to make it even longer, or eyebrows that can go on top to extend it out. So if you're looking here, so basically this piece right here is your eyebrow. These are your little side pieces. This is from the back. So this is where your lens would go right here. You would attach these to that rail system we were talking about earlier. And then it's hard to see on this guy, but over here, your filters go in here. And let me. Um, so we'll just change here for a second. So these are what your 4x5 filters look like. So you're used to the round ones that screw in. So basically, this is just a flat piece of glass that will. Let's see if they have a. That'll slide into a little holder just like this, and then that goes right in front of your lens and your matte box, and that'll shield it. Now, if you've ever looked at your polarizer, you notice that the glass will actually spin. And so on most of these, the nicer ones, there is a piece in the back that'll allow you to spin the flat piece of glass so you can find the right polarization to get going. Um, so this is super cool. These are very, very useful. I was talking earlier. What didn't you see? What did I miss?
Um, I didn't see that the polarized filter turns.
Oh yeah. So
Is that
so what it is your polarizer actually changes the way the light enters in and will bend the light differently. So let's say you're shooting outside and your sky is nice and blue when you look at it, but it's not looking right in the camera. You can actually slowly turn the end of your polarizer, and it'll help make the sky bluer. Or let's say you're shooting into water and you want to be able to see through the water as opposed to seeing the reflection on top. You can actually spin that, and it'll help with that. Or if you're trying to shoot through a window, it'll help with that as well. So that's what your polarizer's main intention is to kind of bend the light so that you can see through things, and it can also darken your skies. Is that helpful? Did you not know that did that? Cool. Yeah, no, so yeah, your
no?
polarizers are,
I didn't.
oh, go ahead.
No, I didn't know that it did all that. I just
Yeah.
thought it was an extra piece of lens.
Yeah, no, super cool. If you get a chance, take it out on a nice blue sunny day and just start spinning it, and you can watch the color of the sky change. It's really cool. Um, so that's what all those do. So now we're getting into more of the
Now,
movement.
when you say,
Yep.
I'm sorry,
No, go ahead.
when you say when you say spin it, are you meaning just the focus is turning, or is there something in there that we're pulling to make it turn?
Uh, Let me show you real quick. So this will show you what it kind of does. This will show you what it kind of does, and I don't see. Okay, so you see here how it has those little lines on the side of your polarizer. This front part in front of that will actually spin around,
Oh,
and so it just freely spins, so you can kind of pick where you want it to be.
okay.
So yeah, so it darkens your sky. It does a lot of really cool things. Um, let's look at a couple of these. Why not? Okay, so you see how it gets rid of the reflection, so you can actually see in through the water, and actually makes it a lot clearer. So with the window, with all of that, so it does some really cool
Crazy.
stuff. But it's more of a specialty item. I know that Bob has talked about it being about a 1.5 ND. It doesn't really work super good for that
Mhm.
because it's actually going to change the way your image looks as opposed to just dropping down the light level.
Okay.
Is that helpful?
Yes.
Awesome.
Very helpful.
All right. Where is Keynote? Hold on 1 second. Okay. All right. So are we good? You're happy? All right. So now we're going to get into some of the sliders, some of the movement ends of it. So slider it became very popular with the advent of DSLR cinema. It made it easier to do little 2, 3, 4, 6 foot moves without having to get out an entire dolly system. So you're allowed to travel. You could travel with it. You could start using it on weddings. It can be turned into a motion control device. So if you ever see those time lapses at night where the camera's actually moving, it uses a little remote control system that'll move it along the rails for you. Um, it can be on a tripod. It can go low to the ground. Um, and it's just two rails with a little block, and you would attach your tripod head to that, and it allows you to slide it. It's very simple, but it adds a lot to your production value. Um, at the end of this, I have, and I'll email this out, the keynote out to you guys. Excuse me. I'll email this keynote out to you guys, and at the end, I have links where you can learn how to build a lot of this from Home Depot for 25, $50. So it's very cool. But this allows just for that real slight movement. Really good for reveals. Really good on close-ups. Just very cool stuff. And if you guys want to know more about what this stuff looks like at the end, I can send you some YouTube links and we can go through some of those. Um, take tons. Yeah, you'll get this, and I'm making a recording of this, so you can look back at the recording too if you want. So Steadicams, they've become very popular. Basically, it allows you to connect your camera to a person and let them walk around and move around, and it stays smooth and doesn't have the jitters of walking or being handheld. Um, you see it a lot in um, TV shows where they're walking and talking and they're going through hallways and moving around. They range anywhere from a few $100s to tens of thousands of dollars. It depends on the weight of your camera. It depends if you want it mounted to your body or if you want to hand hold it. Um, all those things change the price of it. And now there are attachments so you can connect it to the back of a golf cart or a Gator, or you can connect it to the front of a Segway. And it's really changed the level that you can get from these devices. Um, I talk about GlideCam because it's the one that I use. So you can see over here we have the one that's the full body rig, and then over here you have the ones that are for the smaller cameras that can be handheld. Now they also make a body rig that you can attach these to, so that you can have the springs and use this. Now when you're looking over here, you'll see there's two springs. This one on the left actually just adjusts the height and doesn't have anything to do with shock absorption. So you can raise the camera up or drop the camera down and continue to walk with it, and then this one will handle all of your shock absorption. And so this works by putting the same amount of weight on the top as you have on the bottom, or putting your um, what is that called? It puts your balance right in the middle. So it's less weight on the bottom than it is on the top, but basically you can tilt this on its side and it'll stay balanced right here. It won't tip forward, it won't tip back, and that keeps the camera from bobbing all over the place. And why you can do it over here without needing the springs. So our cameras will work on a GlideCam 4000. um, and then you can add all these other accessories and stuff later. This is for your big cameras. Your Once you get into the 18, 20 pound cameras, you get into something like this. This will do up to 16 pound, I think. So you'd be good there. We're nearing the end. You guys are making me feel bad. No questions. Uh, Next, we're gonna get into jib. So a jib is a device that'll give you horizontal and vertical movement at the same time. They have a motorized head for camera control, so you can pan and tilt while you're moving the camera up or down or left and right. Um, uh, so if it doesn't have a motorized head, it can be called just a boom arm. It can range in length from short to very long. And when I say short to very long, I'm talking anywhere from 4 to 5 feet of a reach of an arm up to 40 to 50 feet reach of an arm. These are the cameras that you use when you see those shots when the guy's kneeling on the ground in the rain, screaming at the heavens above. Um, so this is what I would call a boom arm. So you put the weights at the back. Once again, it's all about balancing. So you have weights at the back, you have the camera at the front, and you have this center point here. This allows you to move the camera very smoothly, very easily, without all that weight sitting on the front. And like I said, this doesn't have the motorized head. So you can stand at the front and operate while you're moving up and down because this is only about a 5 foot reach. So if you're standing on something, you could very easily boom up and boom down and control your camera at the same time. Over here is your 40 footer. These are the things you see on movies. You see it, sporting events. NASCAR uses them a lot to get out over the cars. Very, very, very cool products. Do a lot of very cool things with them. Um, just they can also do Dutch. Do you guys know what Dutch angles are? Okay, so a Dutch angle. Let's go back to the internet here. A Dutch angle is when you tilt the camera from side to side. Um, so you've seen it in all kinds of movies. It's just where the camera's tilted to the side instead of being um, normal. So you have this skewed look to it. Um, so basically, if you're on a jib with a Dutch head, you can not only boom up, boom down, boom left, boom right, you can tilt up, tilt down, pan left, pan right, and then now you also add this roll where you can slowly turn the camera sideways. Either it it can only go one way, but you can control how that works by how you pan the head. All right, so that's about it. Um, So here's the links you guys will be getting. So I give you a shoulder rig, a slider, matte box, Steadicam, jib, all with just cool little tutorials. Um, but let me show you. Oh, don't do that. Unlock. Um, you know, if you're gonna, I recommend you guys build your own fun toys to add to the camera. But you need to take them kind of the next step than what a lot of these people will show you. They don't look professional a lot of times when they're done building these. So, a can of spray paint can go a long ways, making it look nice. Just kind of making it look a little more professional. So when you show up on set, I don't know why this isn't loading. I hope it's still there. When you show up on set, it doesn't look cheap. Let's see if this guy's working. It looks like it's my internet. So we'll let those load. I'm going to open it up for questions now. If you guys have questions about any of the stuff we covered, if you have questions about your assignments, we can go through them. We can get into them. What do you guys got? Something. So week three is it's my I really like week three. We go into color correction for everything. Maybe it's Chrome. Um, we go into color correction and how to modify the look of your image. The videos are really cool this week. They go through a lot of color theory, um, things of that nature. So you can check those out. Um, they're very informative. Color is a very powerful tool um, that will help you a lot. So I got this guy up, so you can see like it's very rough. It's metal, bare metal, roller skate wheels, tripod head. But if you just go through with some Rust-Oleum, paint this black. You can leave the inside metal so that you don't have to worry about it getting on your wheels and stuff like that. Just painting your pieces will make it look a lot better. Um, it's very, very cool stuff. Let's see if we can get the shoulder rig up now that this seems to be working.
Okay, so now how is that mounted to the metal piece? I mean, there won't be any drilling or holes or anything, will
This
there?
guy? What? I didn't want to go there. Way over here. Okay. So at the end, if you watch the video, at the end, there's pieces that hold this from coming out. But basically, these are angled cut pieces. So they're triangles without the last piece. And that holds the wheels into place.
But I mean in the camera on the actual metal plate.
Oh, there's a drill. There's a hole in here with an 1/8 inch screw that comes through that screws. So if you've ever on your tripod, if you if you take it off, if you unscrew that long handle on the bottom and you take
Mm-hmm.
it off and you flip it over, you'll see there's 3 screws that hold that half bowl on there. And you
Oh,
can take that off and then you can put your tripod head on whatever you want.
oh, makes sense.
So this guy went through the process of painting and everything, but it's very simple. It's your camera would screw right on there. He gives you the right hole size and everything for that. Nice shoulder pad, 2 hand grips, and this will save you a lot of stress and sore shoulders and sore arms. And all it is PVC piping. It's nothing else to it. This is very. Does he say how much he spent on this? This stuff is very inexpensive to build. You could probably do this, for 10-15 bucks. Um, and get this nice shoulder rig so that you can put your camera on it. So very very cool stuff. Um, so Jacob and Adrian, did you guys have any questions, or I don't know when you guys popped in. I don't know what you saw, what you missed.
All right, speak on this.
Hey Jacob, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going? Going good. Yeah, whatever you can, whatever I missed, if you can maybe do it real quick summary. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but
Oh yeah, no worries. So basically today was all about camera accessories. So we just kind of ran through it. I'm gonna post the video. I've been recording this tomorrow. But basically we went through lens adapters and how you can put Canon mount or Nikon mount or PL mount lenses on your cameras. And there's some images, and you'll get this whole PowerPoint too, so you can go through and look at it a little closer. Um, so we just went through, the different options out there that are available. Um, Shoulder rigs, how they help you. I give you different brands with links. I was telling them Jag 35 has a nice student discount. It's nice quality stuff. But basically, your camera mounts up here so you can hold it on your shoulder as opposed to just having the weight sitting on your arms in front of you. Um, and just kind of makes it a little bit easier to carry the camera around all day. Um, then we went to follow focuses, and there's two different kinds. There's friction based or gear based, and this allows you to have a more comfortable way of turning your focus ring. So you're doing it as more of like a winding your watch motion as opposed to having to spin your wrist the all the way around the lens. Um, Matte boxes, how they attach using the rod system, shielding the light from the lens and keeping it from getting milky and washed out. What else we got? Sliders. Sliders are great. they have a real smooth, short distance that you can move the camera, so you have a dolly look without all of the extra dolly gack. Um, and then Steadicam, went through those and kind of how they work, and just basically, the different ones available, the ones that can be handheld, the ones that need a full body vest. We went through jibs. Um, Covered how they can be small without a motorized head, or ginormous up to 50, 60 feet with a motorized head, so you can move the camera when it's far away from you. And that's about it. We got the FS100 does not need to be used with a full body vest. You can use the biggest of the handheld ones, and you can get a body vest later, because if you're going to be doing long days, it will definitely help you. Um, Otherwise, your armor is going to get very tired very quick. So, glide cam. So you're going to be looking at the 4000. It can handle up to 10 pounds. So it's going to be this guy here at the end, and that'll support your camera just fine. And then if you want to, where's that? Here it is. If you want to add up to it, you can get the body vest later. So that you have the extra absorption of the spring. Basically, the spring replaces your arm, um, so that you don't have to let your arm die on you. So that's the kind of rig you would use with your FS100. What other questions you guys got? Nothing? Are you guys good? Do you have any questions about anything? Nothing? Something? What's up, Jacob? You guys can just turn on your mics. We can just talk. You don't have to type if that makes life easier. This is being recorded. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna stop the recording, so it's there. All right. So your black level is how crisp and kind of true your blacks are. So this will affect your shadow area. So if you have a shadow in there and it's almost kind of milky, it doesn't quite look right, you can do what we call crushing the blacks, which basically means that the information in the black goes away and it becomes a true black. It becomes much darker. Um, it'll make your shadow area drop off faster. It'll make your image much more contrasty. Um, it'll just actually, if you're looking at this background, like if this is how your blacks look, they're kind of gray and muddy. As you make this a more negative number, it'll come up here into this more black area. And then as you increase that number, it becomes more gray and washed out. Your gamma is how your curves are perceived. So if we come back over to this and say, we'll do film. So this is based off of film stuff, and how your colors are actually perceived by the different wavelengths of light, and you can go very in depth into this. Why did that picture become so small? So basically, as it curves, you see there's this HD line here. Your HD will come over like this. Your film like is kind of right here in the middle. So these are it changes how intense and how your colors are actually recorded into the camera. So when you see a film curve, it's a curve. Digital works in stairs and it goes up little by little. So you want those to be as close together as you can. Um, so you have these different versions. So you have your standard, which is, just the camera out of the box, how it is ready to go. You have your Cinematones 1 and 2, and these push the curve more towards film. You get more drop off at the front and more drop off at the back, so you kind of lose a little bit of information there. You have to be more spot on with your exposure. Um, the ITU 709 matches the standards for a television. Um, so it's very flat, very straightforward. It's what you want to use if you want to do all of your color correction in post. This will give you the most options in post. That's
Yeah.
what gives you that flat look. Yeah.
What would be the advantage to actually capturing it in camera with the curve that you want or what have you, as opposed to fixing it in post? I know personally um, I've heard to basically capture it flat, as flat a curve as possible, and so you get those milky blacks and everything just looks washed out, and
Right.
then fix it, and color it in post. So
Okay,
what's
so
the advantage?
there's a couple different thoughts on this. With your with the newer cameras, you're shooting raw, and that's what you're getting, whether you like it or not. I mean, you can
Right,
make a different lookup table and have a different look for them, so you don't see it gross on your monitors and stuff like that.
right,
On our level of cameras, because you're not getting a raw image, like
mm,
you're not, you can do everything you can to get as close to that as you want, but you're still gonna lose from the compression.
right, right.
So getting it right or as close to right in camera as you can will save your image quality later because you don't have to make as many adjustments to it. When you get into your higher end cameras, that's when you don't worry about doing it on set as much as you do in post. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah,
What we're trying to do is by doing it in camera, you're holding the picture quality longer on down the road. Um, Especially if you're shooting, generic stuff. If you're shooting a wedding, you don't want to spend the time to go through and color time that whole thing. If you can
yeah,
just go through and pop up your contrast, pop up your colors, so you get a much nicer look in camera, and you have to do minor tweaks, stuff like that.
right,
Convention work, reality show work, like
right.
they're not taking their time to color correct that
Yeah, yeah.
nonsense.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Does that
Yeah,
help?
yeah, totally. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. What's after that? Your black gamma is once again, your black levels are also adjusted by this. Um, I tend to keep everything in my blacks down a little bit, but that comes with experience because when you do that, you don't have as much latitude. Do you guys know what latitude is? Okay, so latitude was kind of the point of the week two assignment. Basically, our cameras can handle about 2 stops underexposed or 2 stops overexposed from where you're set without losing information. And that, what you refer to that to is latitude. And that's how much information you're getting without ruining it by exposure. So if the more you mess with your black gammas and your black levels, you get less latitude. So you might only get a half a stop over or underexposed before your blacks go completely black and you're not getting any information out of your blacks, or vice versa for the lights, which are your knee. So what your knee does is it keeps you from getting into the over 100 IRE levels. Your IRE levels are range 0 to 100, and those are what's 0 to 95 is acceptable. If you ever look on Final Cut or Adobe, there's something that's called TV Safe, and that'll actually your TV Safe will go through and keep it from going over 100. And this is the same thing that the camera does. So you can set it to low, medium, or high depending on how close to that 100 IRE level you want to get. And when it gets close, it compresses it down. So once again, you're saving your image, but if you really overexpose, it's going to degrade your image because it's going to, like if you have it set at medium, I think medium's around 85. So once anything hits 85, it'll start pushing it back down and compressing it and just making it pure white. So you'll lose some of your high end. Um, your color modes are the same, pretty much the same as your, where they go? is your gamma levels. It just helps push the colors to match what you set up in your gamma levels. So it's very much the same. Um, the Pro is if you're trying to match it up with your Cine Altas and your higher end Sony cameras, that'll help you get closer to what their engineers set those cameras up as. But very few camera people will leave them at what the Sony engineers set them up as. A lot of times you'll send them out to a third party engineer that'll use a chip chart and a waveform and a vector scope and actually get the camera where it should be. Your color level basically just raises or decreases your chroma level. So it makes all your colors brighter or all your colors less dull or more dull. If you go to -8, it turns it into a black and white image. If you're shooting black and white, I recommend doing it in camera. When you do it in post, it tends to not quite look black and white. There's a lot more grays in there. Where when you do it in camera, you get a much truer looking black and white. Your color phase, it affects how the colors work. You can move it more towards the green or the red. I, I know we assigned the vector scope Linda assignment this week. I don't know if you guys have watched it yet or not, so we can go into that real quick. So if you're looking at a vector scope, all your colors are mapped out here. So you have your red and your magenta. I don't know what Q. Your yellows, your greens, your cyans, your blues. That should be a G. I don't know why that's. At any rate, I don't know what Q is. Where did Q come from? What's over here? Your skin tones are over here in between your yellows and your reds. But basically, if you're looking at this is what a chip chart would look like on here if you have it engineered properly. So basically, someone put color bars up, and this is what came up. So on, now I forgot where it was. So not color mode, not level, phase. That's where we were. So on color phase, what you can do is if you actually have this set up, this whole image, all these lines that show where your colors are, will either rotate left or rotate right. The whole thing will move either more towards the red or more towards the green. Cool. And it goes over that in the Linda video this week. So don't worry too much about this. I know this looks very confusing, especially since I don't know what this Q means. I'm gonna have to figure that out because all your 6 main colors are there. And your skin tones, like I said, that's what this line right here is for. This will show you your skin tones. And I've brought up chip chart a lot, so let me show you what a chip chart looks like. So your chip chart looks like this and covers all of the colors. And they're very expensive pieces of aluminum. Basically, this has all your different colors. So you aim your camera at this, and you pull up your vector scope, and you try and get those dots to match up as they do on. Oh, I moved it. I closed that window. Sorry. So basically, you try and get these into those boxes that represent the different colors. And a well-engineered camera is going to be very, very close. So that was phase. So this color depth allows you to go in and tweak individual colors. So if you want your blues to really pop, but you don't want everything else to, you can come in here and just pump up the colors of your blues. That one's pretty simple here. So you get your red, your greens, your blues, your cyan, your magenta, and your yellow. And so basically on this, you're going to go through and you're just going to play. Like I just want you to go through and mess around with the different settings and see what you like, see what you don't like, see what you can change things into. Yeah. And my chat box is minimized, so I don't know if there are more questions. You tried bringing it up and was able to. Is the Linda video not working? Did it get pulled down and no one told me? I'll look into that.
No, it was. I had to Google it. I know that.
Is it not linked anymore? Hold on.
I was able to.
Let's see here.
I tried to follow the directions. I don't. It wouldn't come up.
Okay, those are my videos. Or was it this week or was it the end of last week? There it is. It's in the color correction. So it was the end of last week. Getting you ready for this one. Go to FSO Connect, organizations, Linda. Have you guys used Linda before? Is this new to you?
Oh yeah.
You guys have used it before? So Premiere Color Correction and Enhancement. And just so you guys know, the this coming Wednesday at 3 o'clock, we're gonna do another live streaming event, and I have the old DP of Survivor and the current DP of Undercover Bosses coming in to hang out and talk with us. So if you can make that, it'll be cool. Jacob, hold on one second.
When
Let
is
me
it?
show you guys how to get into Linda real quick, and then we'll go from there. So you'll go to, oh, what did I click? You're gonna go to Organizations, Linda. Go to lynda.com.
Oh, it's Linda, not library. Oh, that's where I screwed up.
And then you'll get this timeout error because Chrome hates me tonight. Yeah, no, Linda has its own section. It's not under library. It really wants to work. I know it does. But basically, once Linda comes up, you can search for the Premiere Color Correction. Oh, hey, here we go. And your color correction is in here. Did I click the right one? What do we call it? I will just cheat and do this number. Did someone have a question about the live stream?
Oh, when was that?
It's going to be next. There's going to be an announcement on Connect tomorrow or Monday, depending on when they get it put up. But it's going to be next Wednesday at 3 p.m. So that's how you find this fun video. I hope that was helpful. All right, so I'm going to stop recording again.